Soldiers, they go through basic training. And what do we train them to do? We train them to be tough, to be strong, to move on and accomplish the mission. I mean, it's embedded in our Army values. I will always place the mission first. I will never accept defeat. I will never quit. And I will never leave a fallen comrade. It doesn't apply just to our own peers, but it applies to ourselves too. You know, we are our own comrade. Because at the end of the day, you're there with yourself.
When I came back from Iraq, I was angry. When I went to Afghanistan, and that, you know, this is about 2 years after I went to Iraq, I had all these things that I was taking with me to Afghanistan. I hit my breaking point, sitting in my room in Afghanistan having a fight with my wife. And she basically told me that she was ready to leave me. I needed to make a change, a significant change, if not for anybody else, but for myself. And that's when I took action, but it still took a lot of time. I got some help from the combat stress counselors. Really 3 months of just hard study, really just digging into myself. Whenever I found myself getting into trouble with ideations of suicide, I would get out of the area, just stop whatever it was I was doing and go find somebody to talk to. I guess what kept me from doing it was, you know, if I could just wait one more day, then maybe I could do something else to gradually improve where I'm at and, you know, see my son again. Went from being able to rely on a psychologist or a psychiatrist for talking to being able to open back up with my wife and build a healthy relationship with her again. Almost the best and worst year of my life all rolled into one, but I think I came through it on the back end pretty well.
I'll admit that I probably didn't do what I needed to do. I have a counseling background, so I said, you know what? I can do this on my own. I grew up with the John Wayne mentality, you know, you just be John Wayne and you'll get through this. You get that point, you go, no, I'm going to need to get some help. And so, you know, I worked with Army One Source. I've worked with, you know, counselors and stuff like that. And basically it's just talking it out. And if you don't do that, you can't talk to yourself. And you've got to lay that thing out in front of somebody else and say, this is what it looks like to me. What does it look like to you? Is this normal? For me to drive down the road and be looking on bridges for people. Why am I still doing that? Why am I looking at trash on the side of the road and swerving the car and stuff like that? And you say, you know, are people going to accept me coming back a little bit abnormal? It's like you've been to the moon, you really love the moon, but now you're back on Earth, but you can't really talk to people about the moon.
The way my depression manifested itself was anger. I would yell, scream, cuss. Then I would go through a guilt period, feeling bad about what I had done. And it was like I was keeping everything in. And so when a situation happened in my life, I overreacted, and I couldn't fix it, and I'd been able to fix things all my life. I self-destructed. I wasn't trusting anybody, wasn't willing to go to anybody for help. I was the professional, the only family life chaplain, the only family counselor in the community. You know, I'm embarrassed that I'm a minister in attempted suicide, but I'm not embarrassed that I healed. I believe the first step towards healing is saying I needed help.
I felt at one time like, man, I really did save his life. But even now, I don't feel like I saved his life. I think he saved his own life. He had plenty of opportunities to do it again, but he saved his own life after that by just talking to mental health and getting the help he needed.
The medic came and sat me down and talked to me, and he's like, we need to get you some help, man. And I said, absolutely. I said, I need to do this because I don't know if I'm going to do this again. I went this far. As soon as I started talking, I immediately started to feel better. I wanted to conquer this thing. I didn't want to be sad all the time. So when I got that help, I did everything that they told me to do, and I got better.
It's surreal, you know? It didn't seem like these things happened to me.
People don't have checklists. Everyone is different. And I believe that he acted appropriately. I mean, he took charge of the situation. He manned up and he did what he had to do.
I'm not that guy that intervenes. I'm not that guy that does stuff like this. But for some reason, I was. For some reason, I did. And I didn't believe it myself, but I'm glad I did it.
It's great to hear success stories about soldiers who got help and were able to maintain control of their lives. These stories remind us that even the toughest soldier sometimes needs a tune-up. And that's okay. We all need it from time to time. As junior leaders, you are responsible for taking care of all your soldiers and their families, and for making sure that they take advantage of all the resources available to them today. With your help, we can be an even greater and stronger Army.
Every soldier depends on the other soldier to do their part.
But you have to reach out to somebody, and the great thing about being in the military is that someone will hear you.
Get out of the area and go find somebody to talk to. You go talk to your chaplain.
I called my boss, and he told me to sit tight, that he was going to get me help.
And I'll protect your life just like you'll protect mine.
But I am not embarrassed that I healed.
As soon as I started talking, I immediately started to feel better.
I'm glad I did it.
I'm Lieutenant General Ben Freakley, the Commanding General of United States Army Accessions Command and Fort Knox. You know, life's challenges can have a huge impact on all of us, soldiers, Army civilians, contractors, and our family members, in terms of health, mood, productivity, and relationships. I want you to know that seeking help during times of distress or personal crisis is a sign of strength, not weakness. There are a few simple things that all of us can do to cope with stress: maintain our physical fitness, engage in activities that we can find relaxing and fun, and spend time with our friends and loved ones. Most importantly, find someone you can talk to. Chaplains are another wonderful source for spiritual guidance and help. They can provide excellent individual and family counseling regardless of our religious affiliations. If you're not comfortable talking to friends, family members, or chaplains about your personal struggles, or if you're having thoughts about suicide, call the Fort Knox Suicide Hotline at 502-624-HELP. The line is open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You can also visit www.preventsuicide.army.mil to learn more about suicide prevention or to find more suicide prevention tools and tips. Our Vice Chief of Staff of the Army, General Pete Corelli, recently said, part of leadership is creating an environment where it's okay to ask for help and where it's our duty to extend a helping hand. All of our Fort Knox leaders need to be vigilant of the suicidal warning signs in our subordinates and in those around us. If you observe any abnormal behavior, talk to our individuals about the issue and assist them in finding the help that he or she needs. Always be there to lend a helping hand. Together, Army Strong, we can help stop suicide at Fort Knox and in the Army. We can live our Army ethos of never leaving a fallen comrade. Strength starts here.